The app was supposed to make me feel safer when I was home alone. Instead, it recorded the last hour of my life before everything changed. If you've ever felt that creeping dread of being alone in your house at night, you need to hear this. And if stories like this keep you up at night in the best way possible, hit that subscribe button now because we post 3 new terrifying true stories every single week. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming. This happened last fall when I was 17. My parents were leaving town for their anniversary, the first time they'd taken a trip together in years. My mom was nervous about leaving me alone for the weekend, but I convinced her I'd be fine. I was practically an adult, right? Our house was in a quiet suburb outside Chicago. Good neighborhood, good schools, the kind of place where nothing bad ever happens. Before they left, my mom made me download this app called Guardian Angel. It was new, some AI-powered home security thing that monitors sounds in your house and sends you alerts if it detects anything suspicious. Footsteps, breaking glass, voices, that kind of thing. She thought it would give her peace of mind while they were gone. Friday afternoon, they left for the airport. I had the whole house to myself. At first, it felt amazing. I ordered pizza, blasted music, did all the things you do when your parents aren't home. Around 9 that evening, the app sent its first alert. Footsteps detected in kitchen. I was sitting in the living room at the time, definitely not in the kitchen. Nothing there. Empty. Silent. I figured it was a glitch. New technology, false alarms, whatever. I dismissed the notification and went back to scrolling through my phone. 20 minutes later, another alert. Breathing detected near staircase. That one made my skin prickle, but when I looked, there was nothing. No one. Just the quiet hum of the refrigerator and the house settling. Over the next hour, the alerts kept coming. Door movement upstairs. Footsteps in hallway. Voice detected in guest room. Every single time I checked, I found nothing. I started getting annoyed, honestly. I posted on social media about it, made a joke. This app is trying to give me a heart attack. My best friend Maya commented immediately. That's creepy, maybe turn it off? But I didn't turn it off. Part of me thought if I ignored it, the glitches would stop. Around 11, I was getting ready for bed when the app sent a voice recording. I almost didn't listen to it. Almost. But curiosity got the better of me. I plugged in my headphones and hit play. Heavy breathing. Slow, deliberate. Then a whisper. My name. Not muffled or distorted. Clear as day. Sarah. My blood went ice cold. I sat there frozen, headphones still in, listening to the recording loop in my head. That wasn't a glitch. That was real. Someone had said my name. I checked every door, every window. All locked. I texted Maya in a panic. I think someone's in the house. She told me to call 911 immediately, but I hesitated. What if I was being paranoid? What if it really was just a malfunction? Then I heard it. Not through the app. In real life. A creak from upstairs. The guest room. I know every sound this house makes. That was a footstep. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone. I grabbed a knife from the kitchen and slowly made my way upstairs. Every step felt like walking toward my own death. The guest room door was cracked open. I remembered closing it earlier. I always close that door. I pushed it open with my shoulder, knife extended in front of me like it would actually protect me from anything. The room was empty. Completely empty. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding and actually laughed at myself. I was being ridiculous. I turned to leave. That's when I saw them. Muddy footprints on the carpet in the hallway. Leading to the guest room. Not away from it. which meant whoever made them had walked into that room after I came upstairs, which meant they were still in the house. My phone buzzed in my hand. Another notification from the app. But I'd turned off the Wi-Fi 10 minutes ago to stop the alerts. The app shouldn't be working. My hands trembling, I opened it. The app had been recording for the past 3 hours. I clicked on the earliest timestamp, 8:15 p.m. The video showed me walking into the house from the garage, heading to the kitchen, grabbing a drink. Except I got home at 7:30. I watched myself on the screen moving through my house at a time I wasn't home yet. Someone else had been here, dressed exactly like me, mimicking my routine for almost an hour before I even arrived. The next recordings were worse. 2 sets of footsteps moving through the house. 2 shadows passing through frames. While I was watching TV downstairs, someone else was upstairs moving through the rooms. While I was in the kitchen checking that first false alarm, someone was standing in the hallway behind me just out of sight. Every alert hadn't been a glitch. The app was trying to warn me. There were 2 people in this house. Me and someone else. Someone who'd been here the entire time. I checked the live feed, the camera pointing at the guest room doorway. I could see my own back on the screen, standing in the hallway where I was right now. But I wasn't holding my phone up. Someone behind me was. Someone was filming me through the app right now. I spun around. Nothing. Empty hallway. But the phone in my hand showed a figure stepping back into the shadows, just out of my line of sight. I ran. I don't remember making the decision to run. My body just moved. Down the stairs, through the living room, locked myself in the downstairs bathroom. I called 911, whispered my address, begged them to hurry. While I waited, I made the mistake of checking the app one more time. The recordings showed everything. Someone entering the house at 6:45 with a key. My house key. Hiding in the basement when I got home. Coming upstairs at 9:30 while I was watching TV and standing at the foot of my bed for 6 full minutes while I was lying there on my phone. The current timestamp showed the bathroom door from the outside. Someone was standing there right now, holding up their phone, watching me through the camera. I could hear breathing on the other side of the door. Not heavy, just calm, patient. The door handle started to turn. I screamed so loud my throat burned. The handle stopped moving. Footsteps retreated. Then the sound of the back door slamming open. Police arrived 4 minutes later. They found me unconscious in the bathtub, head injury from where I'd slipped trying to back away from the door. They said someone had picked the bathroom lock. There were signs of a struggle. The back door was wide open, cold November air pouring into the house. No intruder found. The app's recordings were mostly corrupted. Only 30 seconds of footage survived. The police showed it to me in the hospital 3 days later. It showed someone removing a wig in my kitchen. Long dark hair like mine. When they turned to face the camera, I stopped breathing. It looked exactly like my older sister Emily. The sister who died in a car accident 3 years ago. The detective said it was someone wearing a prosthetic mask. They found evidence in the basement. A shrine of photos of me. My daily routines mapped out on paper. Professional-grade face masks, the kind they use in movies. Whoever it was had been planning this for months. But here's the thing they couldn't explain. Emily's grave was disturbed that same week. The casket was opened. Empty. The police told my parents it was probably unrelated, grave robbers or vandals. But I know what I saw in that footage. I don't live in that house anymore. My parents sold it within a month. I deleted the app, but sometimes late at night, I still get notifications on my phone. Guardian angel alerts. Even though I uninstalled it. Even though I factory reset my phone twice. The last alert I got was yesterday. It said, "I'm still watching. Sleep tight, Sarah." My older brother made me practice what to do if someone broke in. 2 weeks later, I found out why he was so specific. I was 14 when this happened, living in Austin with my parents and my brother Jake. Jake was 19, home from college for the summer. Our parents decided to take their first real vacation in forever, a 10-day Mediterranean cruise. They asked Jake to stay home and watch me. He wasn't thrilled about it, but he agreed. The week before they left, Jake started doing something weird. He'd corner me in the kitchen or living room and say, "Okay, pop quiz. Someone breaks in right now. What do you do?" At first, I thought he was just being an overprotective older brother. Our house had been robbed about 6 months earlier while we were all out at dinner. They'd taken the TV, some jewelry, my mom's laptop. Ever since then, Jake had been paranoid about home security. He made me memorize the protocol. If I heard glass breaking or saw someone in the house, I was supposed to grab my phone, lock myself in the upstairs bathroom, call 911, and stay on the line until police arrived. Don't confront them. Don't try to be a hero. Just hide and wait for help. He drilled it into my head over and over until I could recite it in my sleep. My parents left on a Tuesday morning. For the first couple days, everything was normal. Jake mostly ignored me, stayed in his room playing video games or went out with friends. On Thursday night, he told me he was meeting up with some guys and would be back by midnight. He left around 8. I was fine being alone. Ordered food, watched Netflix, the usual. Around 10:30, I heard it. Glass shattering downstairs. The back door window. My heart stopped. This was exactly what Jake had prepared me for. I grabbed my phone and ran upstairs. Locked myself in the bathroom. Dialed 911 with shaking hands. The operator answered immediately. I whispered my address, told her someone had broken into my house. She said officers were 4 minutes away. Stay quiet. Stay hidden. Don't hang up. I could hear footsteps downstairs. Heavy boots on the hardwood floor. Slow, deliberate steps. Not rushed. Not panicked. Like whoever it was knew they had time. The footsteps started coming up the stairs. My entire body was shaking. I sat on the bathroom floor, phone pressed to my ear, and prayed they wouldn't find me. The footsteps stopped right outside the bathroom door. The handle jiggled. Twice. I held my breath, tears streaming down my face. Then the footsteps retreated. Back down the stairs. The operator told me police were pulling up. Officers would clear the house. Just stay where I was. 3 cops came through the front door. I heard them shouting, clearing rooms. After what felt like forever, one of them knocked on the bathroom door and told me it was safe to come out. I opened the door on weak, shaky legs. The officers walked me downstairs. The back window was shattered, glass all over the floor. Muddy boot prints tracked through the kitchen and up the stairs. But nothing was taken. The TV was still there. My laptop sat untouched on the coffee table. My mom's jewelry box in her room hadn't been opened. One officer looked confused. "Did you or your brother move anything valuable before tonight? Like you knew someone might come back?" I told him no. Everything was exactly where it always was. They dusted for fingerprints, took photos of the boot prints, and told me to call my brother immediately. I tried Jake's phone. Straight to voicemail. I called 3 more times. Nothing. That's when another officer came out of the garage holding something. A receipt. From a hardware store. Dated 3 days ago. I watched his face change as he read it. He showed it to his partner, and they both looked at me with an expression I didn't understand yet. The receipt showed a purchase of a glass cutter, size 11 work boots, and leather work gloves. Jake wore size 11 boots. The officer asked me where exactly my brother said he was going tonight. I showed him Jake's text. Meeting friends at Dave's house, back by midnight. They called Dave. He answered on the second ring. No, Jake never made plans with him. He hadn't talked to Jake in over a week. The officers went back into the garage. One of them pulled out the trash can and found work boots at the bottom, mud still wet on the soles. They matched the prints in the kitchen exactly. My stomach dropped. I felt like I was going to throw up. The officer looked at me and said very gently, "Your brother broke into your house tonight while you were alone." I couldn't process it. Why would Jake do that? It didn't make sense. They tried calling him again. His phone was off. That's when I started putting pieces together out loud, my voice sounding distant and strange even to myself. Jake had made me practice this exact scenario. He knew exactly what I'd do, where I'd hide, that I'd call 911. He knew I'd be isolated in that bathroom. The officer's face went pale. He asked me if there was any reason Jake might want to hurt me. Any arguments, any money problems, anything. I remembered something from last week. My parents had updated their will. Everything was split 50-50 between me and Jake. The house, their savings, all of it. And Jake had dropped out of college last semester. He had massive student loans, credit card debt. He'd been asking my parents for money and they'd refused. The officer looked at his partner and said, "We need to find your brother right now." I asked why scaring me would help him with money. The officer hesitated, then said, "I don't think he was trying to scare you." The front door opened. Jake walked in, looking surprised to see police. "Riley, thank God you're okay. I got your voicemail about the break-in." I said I didn't leave you a voicemail. The officers moved their hands to their weapons. "Sir, we need you to step outside with us." Jake looked confused. Then he saw the boots one of the officers was holding. His expression changed. The concerned brother act dropped instantly. He looked at me and said, "You weren't supposed to call 911 that fast. You were supposed to wait." "Wait for what, Jake?" He almost smiled. "Wait until I got inside. You were supposed to panic, try to fight back like I taught you. Use something as a weapon. And in the struggle, you'd fall. Hit your head. Terrible accident. I'd show up right after, devastated." The grieving brother. One of the officers stepped forward. "You were planning to kill your sister and make it look like a home invasion gone wrong." Jake pulled a knife from his jacket. Everything happened fast. The officers drew their guns, started shouting at him to drop it. Jake looked at me, really looked at me, and said, "Dad always liked you more. You were getting the house too. I needed it gone. All of it. The debt, the pressure. If you were gone, I'd inherit everything. Sell the house, pay off the loans, start over." I backed away from him, this person I'd known my whole life, and realized the practice runs weren't about protecting me. He was rehearsing, testing my reactions, teaching me to fight back so there'd be evidence of a struggle. He'd planned this down to the smallest detail. More officers rushed in. Jake dropped the knife when he saw he was outnumbered. They arrested him right there in our living room while I watched, numb and shaking. The investigation found everything on his laptop. Months of research on accidental deaths during home invasions. Detailed plans with timelines. He'd even mapped out where he'd be when I called 911 so he'd have an alibi for the initial break-in. He was going to show up right after I was already dead, play the devastated brother, comfort our parents, and inherit everything. The worst part? The robbery 6 months ago? That was Jake too. His first practice run. He'd stopped because our parents came home early from dinner. He'd been planning to kill me for over half a year. I live with my aunt now, 3 states away. Jake's in prison awaiting trial. My parents are destroyed. They can't reconcile the son they raised with the person who tried to murder their daughter for money. Sometimes I still hear his voice in my head. Remember the protocol, Riley. Lock yourself in the bathroom. Don't try to be a hero. Just hide and wait. He taught me exactly how to survive. And when the moment came, I followed his instructions perfectly. I survived because I was too good at the game he created. He trained me so well that I called for help before he could get to me. I wonder sometimes if some part of him wanted me to survive. If that's why he made sure I knew exactly what to do. But then I remember the knife. The look in his eyes. The detailed plans on his computer. My brother tried to kill me. And every day, I have to live with the fact that the person who taught me how to stay safe was the one I needed protection from. Mrs. Chin saved my life that night. At least, that's what I thought until I saw the photos the police found in her house. I was 15, living in a small town in Connecticut. My parents were driving upstate for my cousin's wedding. It was the first time they'd left me alone overnight. They trusted me. Good kid, good grades, never got in trouble. Our next-door neighbor, Mrs. Chin, had lived there for as long as I could remember. She was 73, the kind of grandma everyone wishes they had. Baked cookies for the whole street, fed the birds every morning, waved from her porch. Before my parents left, Mrs. Chin came over with a container of soup. She told them not to worry, she'd keep an eye on me. My mom was relieved. Having Mrs. Chin next door was like having a guardian angel. Saturday night, I was watching TV when I noticed a car idling across the street. No headlights. Just sitting there. I couldn't see the driver, but I felt watched. After about 10 minutes, it drove away. I tried to shake off the uneasy feeling and went back to my show. Around 10, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. The text said, "Your parents aren't home. I know you're alone." My stomach dropped. I immediately thought of my ex-boyfriend Derek. We'd had a messy breakup 2 months ago, and he'd been driving past my house ever since. I blocked the number and tried to calm down. 20 minutes later, a different car appeared in the same spot. This time I turned off all the lights in the house and peeked through the curtains. I couldn't see anyone inside, but the car just sat there, engine running. My heart was pounding. Then my doorbell rang. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. The doorbell rang again. I crept to the window and looked out. No one on the porch. But there was an envelope on the doormat. Against every instinct, I opened the door just wide enough to grab it and slammed it shut again. Inside were photos. Of me. In my bedroom window. Taken from outside over the past 2 weeks. Different outfits, different times of day. Someone had been watching me. Documenting me. I completely panicked. Grabbed my phone and ran straight to Mrs. Chen's house, pounding on her door. She answered immediately, took one look at my face, and pulled me inside. I was shaking so hard I could barely explain. She sat me down, made me tea, and called the police. Within 15 minutes, 2 officers arrived. They went to my house, checked every room, found nothing. No signs of forced entry, no one lurking outside. They took the photos, wrote up a report, and one of them said it was probably just a prank. Kids trying to scare you. But Mrs. Chen insisted I stay with her for the night. She said she'd keep watch, make sure no one came back. I felt so grateful. So safe. She set me up in her guest room and told me to try to get some sleep. She'd be right downstairs if I needed anything. Around midnight, I couldn't sleep. I went to use the bathroom and noticed Mrs. Chen's study door was cracked open, light spilling into the hallway. I heard her phone buzz. Glancing in, I saw her looking at her screen. The message preview was visible from where I stood. Subject secure. Proceed? My blood went cold. Subject? I backed away quietly, heart racing, and pretended to go back to the guest room. But I waited in the hallway, listening. I heard her typing, the soft click of her phone being set down. Then silence. I knew I shouldn't, but something felt horribly wrong. When I heard her go into the kitchen, I slipped into the study. The walls were covered in photos. Hundreds of them. Of me. But not stalker photos. These were normal photos. Me as a baby. Me at birthday parties. Me at school events. Photos I'd never seen before. And then I saw others. Photos of my mom. As a teenager. She looked exactly like me. On the desk was a newspaper clipping. Local woman gives baby up for adoption 15 years ago. The date matched my birthday. Next to it, a handwritten note. My granddaughter. Finally home. I couldn't breathe. Mrs. Chen was my biological grandmother. My mom had been adopted. She'd never told me. And Mrs. Chen had been watching me my entire life. Not as a neighbor. As family she thought had been stolen from her. I heard her footsteps coming back. I ducked behind the desk, trying to stay quiet. She walked into the study, humming softly. She picked up her phone and made a call. She's here. Sound asleep. We'll leave first thing in the morning. I have everything ready. I realized with horror that the stalker wasn't real. She'd staged the whole thing. The cars. The texts. The photos. All of it to terrify me enough to run to her. And now she was planning to take me somewhere. When she left the room again, I tried the front door. But deadbolt needed a key from the inside. Back door. Same thing. Every window had security bars I'd never noticed before. I was trapped. Mrs. Chen appeared in the hallway. Going somewhere, sweetheart? Her voice was still sweet, but there was something else underneath it now. You don't need to be afraid. I'm your grandmother. Your real family. Your mother took you from me 15 years ago. Tonight, I'm taking you back. I told her I'd scream. She smiled sadly. Darling, who do you think will hear you? Then she showed me her phone. A group chat with several names I recognized. Her book club friends. All neighbors on our street. They'd been coordinating everything. The cars. The texts. They thought they were helping her with a surprise custody reconciliation. They had no idea what she was really planning. She showed me a suitcase in the closet. Packed with clothes. My clothes. Stolen from our laundry line over months. Fake ID with my photo but a different name. Amy Chin. Plane tickets to California. Leaving tomorrow morning. I felt dizzy. This was an impulse. She'd been planning this for months. Maybe years. I made myself smile. Told her I'd always wondered about my real family. That I wanted to know her. She relaxed, actually teared up, and pulled me into a hug. She said she'd make us tea to celebrate. The moment she turned toward the kitchen, I grabbed the lamp off the side table and smashed the living room window. I screamed as loud as I could. Screamed for help over and over until lights turned on in the neighboring houses. Mrs. Chen tried to grab me, begging me to stop, to understand. But I kept screaming. The police came. Real police this time, called by actual neighbors who heard the commotion. They found everything. The photos. The fake documents. The detailed plans. Mrs. Chen was arrested for attempted kidnapping, stalking, conspiracy. The investigation revealed that my biological mother, Mrs. Chen's daughter, had willingly given me up for adoption due to severe addiction issues. She'd signed away her rights. But Mrs. Chen never accepted it. When I was 3, she bought the house next door to us. She'd been documenting my entire childhood, watching me grow up through her window. Then they found something else in her attic. Photos of another girl. Different name, different face. From 10 years ago in a different state. That girl was never found. Police think Mrs. Chen had tried this before. That I wasn't her first granddaughter she tried to reclaim. My parents finally told me the truth about my adoption when I got home. They'd known Mrs. Chen was my biological grandmother. That's why they'd moved when I was a baby, trying to get away from her. But she'd found us. They'd hoped that by being friendly, by letting her be part of my life from a distance, she'd be satisfied. They were wrong. I don't hate Mrs. Chen. That's what scares me most. Part of me understands she was sick, delusional, broken by losing her daughter and then her granddaughter. But understanding doesn't erase what she tried to do. She writes me letters from prison. One every month on my birthday. I don't open them. But I don't throw them away either. They sit in a box in my closet. Sometimes late at night I think about reading them. About understanding what she was thinking. What she wanted to tell me. My therapist says that's normal. That I'm trying to process a trauma that doesn't fit into easy categories of good and evil. But here's what keeps me up at night. That other girl. The one from 10 years ago. The police never found her. Never found a body. Just photos in an attic and a missing person report that went cold. I wonder if she's out there somewhere, living as someone else. Or if Mrs. Chen succeeded with her. If that girl is living a whole different life, not knowing who she really is. And sometimes, I wonder what my life would have been like as Amy Chen. If I'd woken up that next morning in California with a new name and a grandmother who loved me so much it destroyed her. The scariest monsters aren't the ones who want to hurt you. They're the ones who love you so much they'll tear your whole world apart to keep you. If these stories left you looking over your shoulder, we post 3 new nightmare fuel tales every week. Hit subscribe so you never miss one. And if you made it this far, drop a comment telling us which story messed you up the most. Was it the app that recorded too much? The brother who practiced murder? Or the neighbor who loved too much? We read every single comment. Thanks for watching, and remember, lock your doors tonight. Sometimes the real horror isn't what's outside. It's what's already inside, waiting.